Welcome back to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. Our focus this morning has been on mental health and an organization that's committed to building better lives for the millions of Americans affected by mental illness. The National Alliance on Mental Illness, also known as NAMI. My guest has been Ms. Brenda Wesley, who is the Director of Education and Outreach for NAMI Greater Milwaukee. And we're now being joined by Ms. Sandra Melcher, who is the organizer of the Mental Illness Stigma Reduction Recovery Coalition. Welcome back to the show and good morning, Soror.
Good morning. Good morning, Soror.
It's good to see you. And I call you Soror because you are a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, which of course is the oldest sorority founded by African American women back in 1908. And that's important to point out because this year, AKA and NAMI have teamed up to make a difference when it comes to increasing mental health awareness in the African American community in particular. So talk about the importance of this partnership.
All right. Well, as you said, Alpha Kappa Alpha was founded in 1908, and most recently we have formed a partnership that is nationally, if not almost global, with NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness, to deal with the disparities of mental services, mental health reform in the African American community. And so that will be our focus for the next 4 years under our current president, who is from Wisconsin, which is the first in the sorority. So, and then once we form a partnership, we continue it for years and years and years. So this is just laying the foundation, starting the conversations.
I love that. And speaking of starting the conversation, according to the Health and Human Services Office of Minority Health, African Americans are 20% more likely to experience serious mental health problems than the general population. Brenda, can you help shed some light on this, because you actually did create what's called the African American Outreach Program here in Milwaukee.
Right. Its acronym is ASK, Access, Support, and Knowledge. And I developed that program. It's an anti-stigma program, going out in the community to talk about stigma, but then also the disparities. And because our numbers are probably higher than the white community as far as diagnosis with mental health, but that's due to violence, that is due to trauma in the community, that's due to poverty, that's due to racism, that's due to domestic violence. There's a lot of anxiety issues in the community, as well as depression. So we don't we equate, when I think about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is that we equate that with our troops coming back from the war. But as you know, in a lot of communities, a lot of individuals live in a war zone. And so we're not addressing the issues of trauma, and so that's why the development of the ASK program is to really go out and talk to the community about trauma and PTSD and all of the other illnesses that's in our community.
Yeah, and I want to talk about this right away. Sandra, you've got the Mental Illness Stigma Reduction Recovery Coalition, and you've put together this event which is specifically dealing with the stigmas that come along with people who have been diagnosed with a mental illness. So tell us about this event and how everybody can get involved.
Okay, certainly. The event is Tuesday, October 27th, starting at 4 p.m. at the Centennial Hall, downtown Central Library on 8th Street. We are featuring workshops that deal with just what I stated, the disparities, where to look for help in terms of mental health services. What do you do if you're a parent and you realize your child either just received a diagnosis or you know something's wrong, but no one's forthcoming in helping you? What do you do? So this is just the beginning of a conversation on all of these challenges in life. We have a keynote speaker coming in from Washington, D.C., from SAMHSA, Kiris Jean Myrick is her name. She's Director of Consumer Affairs, and she is going to be speaking on changing attitudes on mental illness. SAMHSA doesn't use the word stigma, but that is what it is. How do we change the attitudes in schools, in workplaces, in our homes, as we deal with our best friend or whatever? How do we become more aware and look at our language and behavior?
So important because there is a lack of information and understanding about mental health, especially when it comes to minorities. A lot of times we'll have family members and we'll kind of just watch them be the way that they are for years and years and years and just write that off as that's just the way they are. That's Uncle so-and-so. That's, you know, here he comes. You know how he is. And there is really that need to recognize when something's wrong and help someone get the help and the attention that they need in order for them to live a happy, healthy life.
Right.
Yeah, so what I wanted to ask you quickly, what are some of the signs or symptoms that, and I know that it's a long list, but what are some of the things that people can look for in an individual to say maybe we should, you know, talk to someone or get some help?
So when we look at the spectrum and the different diagnoses, it's someone living with schizophrenia or a diagnosis, hallucinations, maybe being paranoid. When we look at depression, is that, are you sad? Are you eating too much? Are you eating too little? Do you start to isolate? Is it actually your behavior? If it impedes your ability to live, love, laugh, work, relate to others, and it's been over a 2-week, 3-week, 4-week period, then at least go and talk to someone. Again, the spectrum. With bipolar disorder, there's depression in there, but then what we call mania, where the person is agitated, they don't sleep, they feel like that they can rule the world, and I mean, and mental and behavior is threaded in all of our personalities. So we all have been at these certain points in our life. But again, when it starts to manifest itself where it impedes our ability to do those things, then we really need to seek treatment. Because if we had a headache, we could walk into a walk-in clinic at the end of the day and say, I had a very bad headache.
Yeah.
And so we need to start that conversation about that as well.
And I think what's important for people to understand is that if they are experiencing those thoughts and feelings and all those things that go along with it, they are not alone. And that's why NAMI is there. So you have individuals that people can talk to. It's confidential. They can go to support groups, whatever the case may be. There's something there for everyone. So this is a great time to give out a phone number for NAMI.
Area code 414-344-0447. 344-0447. So we don't put those labels on individuals as being different and weird and crazy and retarded and all of those labels that we put on people, because who wants to be known as crazy?
Right.
And so we really need to change that conversation, you know, about mental health. And hopefully we can talk about pieces, I hope.
Oh yes,
Yes.
we'll come up with
Yes.
that, but I did want to reiterate the details on the event that's coming up on October 27th. That's from 4 to 8 p.m. at the Milwaukee Public
4
Library.
to 9. So,
However long, about 9-ish.
Yeah.
At the Milwaukee Public Library, Centennial Hall, 733 North 8th Street, and you can get more details on NAMI's website at namigrm.org, and you're very familiar with Centennial Hall because you are a librarian down there at the main library.
Yeah.
Been doing that for years,
Right.
so a familiar face in that arena. And Brenda, you've written and produced this play entitled Pieces in My Own Voice, a theatrical production that depicts the lives of people who are living with a mental illness. And you've got a couple of dates coming up where people can check that out, right?
Actually, we're going to be the second part of the symposium is that the AKA will be hosting the production the November 17th at 7 o'clock at Centennial Hall.
Okay.
And it's a wonderful piece that we use music and dance and vignettes and educational messages to educate the community about mental health, because that's the way that you can get people to digest such a subject that we want to run away from. So using the arts, and you're in the arts as well, and on the radio. So I think the arts is such a very effective way to get the discussion started about mental health. And so that's why I wrote and I wrote it as a tribute to my son living with a mental illness, because he had told me one time, do you know how it feels to live in a world where you really don't know where you fit in? And that was very profound to me when he said that. And so it's like we really need to address that. And she's worked very hard on this symposium and getting that message out.
Oh yeah, there's a
Yes,
long
Sandra.
list of organizations
Yes.
that have worked together in making this possible. So it really does take a village to, you
Yes,
know,
it does.
not only raise a child, but to break stigmas and make a difference right here
true.
where we live.
That's true.
Yeah, so I wanted to also mention Pieces is also going to be performed November 12th at Children's Hospital, right?
Yes, yes, at Children's Hospital for the Children's Community Health Plan, because they're using the production to even train. We can use it for the community, but the production, we have found out that we're evidence-based, and we have a youth production too. So we use it to train even professionals and doctors and nurses and social workers, so they can understand that they're dealing with individuals and not just cases as well. So, and then we'll be in Kenosha this Saturday.
Okay.
And then we're doing a show with SDC in December. So, and we also went national. We went to Washington, D.C., and so we've been just quite busy.
You have been
yes.
a busy lady,
Yes.
and it really is refreshing to see that people are able to come together to deal with a subject like this that many times people don't want to talk about. Right. So congratulations to you both on the outstanding work and continued success with breaking that stigma. And I just wanted to remind everybody to make sure they come by the Fighting the Stigma of Mental Illness and Promoting the Journey of Recovery event, Tuesday, October 27th at Milwaukee Public Library, Centennial Hall.
Free and
free
open
of charge.
Yes.
That's a major thing there.
Yes.
Thank you both for coming by. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Brenda Wesley is the Education and Outreach Coordinator for NAMI Greater Milwaukee, and Sandra Melcher is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and the organizer of the Mental Illness Stigma Reduction and Recovery Coalition. For more information on anything that we've discussed today, you can log on to namigrm.org or call 414-344-0447. That is going to do it for today's show. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. As always, I thank you for watching, and I do hope you join us again next week as we take another look at our issues, Milwaukee. Have a great day.